Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BTB Movie Club podcast. My name is Matt Smith. We hope you enjoyed today's movie discussion. Thanks for listening.
Well, welcome everybody to the BTB Movie Club. This is movie number 231. Yes, Dan, I wrote it down last week, so I would already know.
I'm challenging that. I don't think it is 231.
Feel free. It's I call it 5RB, fifth movie with the return of Brian. So
Nice.
the movie Matt Smith's pick, The Man Who Would Be King. He had the choices of Sean Connery or a female.
Susan Sarandon. Susan Sarandon. Yeah.
Some woman.
Lady.
Some female, a very female, Susan Sarandon.
And he went with Sean Connery and The Man Who Would Be King. So, Matt, take it away.
All right. Yeah. So I tried to pick something that was a little off the beaten path there. I know probably not the first movie you think of when you think of Sean Connery, but this was according to him, this was his favorite role. So I figured, never seen it before, wanted to check it out. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say about it's 1975, and I know that probably had a little bit of an effect on it. So a little bit of a slow one, but yeah, interested what you guys have to hear. So I will start with Mike Wilden. He's on top of my screen here.
God, terrible start because I was kind of just like, I don't know, I had trouble getting into it. It was kind of I will say, kind of a rough day. And so I don't know, I just wasn't in the mood for a movie from 50 years ago. I tried. I enjoyed seeing young Michael Caine. It's
Mhm.
something I haven't really seen. I That was fun, and I was a little surprised by how like conniving his character was, seeing Michael Caine in a role that isn't like astute butler or,
Right.
cherished dad or something like that. It was just like, oh, okay. But it was cool. I did like Sean Connery's character too. I Yeah, I guess, I mean, the visuals are good. I kind of liked the story like devices that they use. I like the idea that, like, the mistake that Sean Connery makes when he finally gets a little too power drunk, and then the girl bites him, and that's his downfall, like, the blood. I'm like, okay, yeah, like, it was a good story about um just kind of getting a little too greedy with things. And I but yeah, I don't know. I unfortunately don't have a ton to say about it otherwise. I'm sorry. It
No,
was
it's fine. It was a little bit slow. It was 1975, so I get you there. They could have probably cut that time from 2 hours and 9 minutes down a little bit. But
also
he's,
the dude at the beginning eating the scorpion out of his hair or something. Like, I was confused by that and very grossed out. But anyway.
yeah, just trying to show you the culture, I guess. They filmed it in Morocco, but I think it was supposed to be India, I believe is what they was supposed to be. So, yeah, you said you liked the young Michael Caine. I've never seen, what is the movie he is? Elfie? Is that the movie he's famous for?
He
Is that
did do Alfie, yes.
I've never seen that either. I know he's that people say that's really good too, and he's a young man, obviously, in that. So, um,
He debuted in Zulu, I think.
I don't know. That's a good question.
But
Um, Go ahead.
no, that's all I got.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so yeah, I totally get it, man. It definitely was a slow burn. I'll talk later, but I snoozed a couple minutes when I was watching it too, and it was my movie, so I totally get it. Yeah, so Michael Caine, Christopher Plummer too. The playing Kipling, so that was interesting. Yeah, so I'm sure maybe you can
I
interject a little.
I kind of like, I wish I would have seen more of Kipling because I actually was pretty intrigued by his character when, like,
Yeah.
when it started going and I kind of understood what was going on. I was like, oh, like, I'm kind of, I liked the journalist point of view and everything. And then he was really just there, beginning and end, and then maybe like a couple of cutscenes when Peachy is telling him the story. It's like, I don't know. I get that there's not really a place for him in what the story was, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I wish I had seen more of his character. That was one thing I was like, huh, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, like I said, I'm sure you'll throw something else in there as we go along. So I will have Dan go.
All right. Yeah, so it was a rough one for me. I did not care for it. Um, yeah, the first thing I wrote down was British humor. I mean, sometimes I just don't get it. They're
It's fair.
doing things that they think are funny, and I'm like, I don't know, don't find it funny. Um, I think this was well received in 1975, but I don't think it would really fly today. Um, Kipling, he wrote the White Man's Burden poem, and then he wrote this short story. So I definitely see, racism in this movie. At the beginning, he throws a guy out of the train, kicks him off the train, and he's like, "Thank you, sir." As he's getting kicked off the train. It's
Right.
like, what? It's um the first half, yeah, it was pretty slow. Um, a lot of walking, a lot of climbing mountains and things like that. And I'm kind of like, where is this all leading to? The second half got, a little more pace to it. Um, I think for this day, a movie like this was kind of considered adventurous and swashbuckling. But, I think a few years later, like with Raiders of the Lost Ark, that changed. It kind of up the ante for these kind of movies to a different level. Um, let's see what else. It was a little hard to follow too at the beginning. I wasn't sure
Yeah.
why they were going to, was it Kazakhstan or whatever the name of the place was? I don't remember. It was in Afghanistan, though, I believe. They were climbing the mountains to go to
Afghanistan?
Afghanistan.
Yeah. Kafiristan.
Okay,
But
thank
it
you.
was, yeah, in Afghanistan. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I didn't care for it. Not my kind of thing. I don't think it aged very well. And well, that's it for now.
Okay. Yeah.
Re
Go ahead.
real quick on the thing with throwing people. I've watched a lot of stuff today with people throwing people out of trains because I saw this and then I was watching Resident Alien and somebody gets thrown out of a train on that show, which is a completely different thing, but it's just been a very strange theme.
Hmm.
Anyway.
No ticket.
I was
Yeah.
going with the night was sultry.
Yeah, throw mama from the
Yeah.
train.
Yeah.
The night was sultry, you poop.
Yeah, no, I understand, Dan. I definitely see what you're saying. When they said we have a way to sneak by and then they show up in brown face, I thought, yeah, that wouldn't fly today. They would have had to come up with some other device to get them through because there's no way they let them do that. But I agree with you. I don't think they could make this today for a lot of reasons. Um, but that was the biggest one, sort of the underlying racism for sure um that was there. So um yeah, and hard to follow. I agree. They don't. I don't know if they ever really give a again. I dozed off for a minute, but I don't think they ever really give a reason to do it. I think they just want the loot, right? They
Right.
just they see it as a way to make no, I don't know. It's not a quick buck. That's a very long buck, but like that's it, right? They just thought, hey, we can make some money off these basically savages because we're British army men. So I think that was the only reason they didn't really give much else. And then they said, hey, we're gonna go have an adventure. So I'm with you. So thank you, Dan. Sorry. Sometimes you go out
So
on a limb and you fail.
yeah, sometimes you miss. Yeah.
And to your point, too, you talked about the British humor. I think they did try to make it funny, and then they sort of gave up on that at some point. And then tried to come back to it. It was kind of weird. The tone of it got a little messed up somewhere in the middle of that. So I'm with you. All right, Brian Larson.
I liked the movie. I did watch it though a week ago. I know we postponed, so I looked at some of my notes and it's like I don't know I wrote National Geographic special was my first note. I don't know why. But I kind of thought this could have been like a prequel to Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, because Michael Caine is, they're con artists trying to make him a king. And, by luck, not necessarily luck, but he takes an arrow to the chest, but he's got shielding on. So now he's invulnerable. They just roll with it. And it's like, well done, guys, So, the Mason angle,
Yeah.
my uncle was like the Grand Mason for the state of Michigan at one point, and I still don't know what Masons are. I just keep thinking of the Fred Flintstone, the Puba Lounge,
Grand
So
Poobah.
I and hopefully none of you, if any of you guys are Masons, I'm sorry if I've offended you, but
They were exalted water buffalo in the Flintstones.
yeah.
Just so you know.
I'm sure Wilden will be with me here. I always think of The Simpsons, of course. Homer joins
Stonecutters.
the Stonecutters. Yeah.
Gotcha. Um, the it started near the end. I started thinking and ended up watching the on YouTube afterwards. But if any of you have seen Bert Kreischer and the story of the machine,
Mm-hmm.
and there's one point during the stand-up, he says to himself, maybe these machine stories are getting out of control. And that's kind of what I thought of this movie. It was just like they're trying to shoot arrows at him. They want to see if he's actually invulnerable. Then it just got out of control. And then the Roxanne is the lady he's marrying. That's actually Michael Caine's wife in real life.
I saw that.
And talk about punching out of your weight class. But yeah, she bites him because she doesn't want to be with, and realize he's human. He isn't this exalted God that they thought. And they sent him tumbling like a penny off of a bridge.
Yeah.
So overall, yeah, I enjoyed the movie. And it was, I saw Kipling, and it's like, God, I know that name from somewhere. Yeah, he kind of wrote Jungle Book and some other stuff. And yeah, so actually, yeah, like I said, I enjoyed the pick. I don't think it got nominated for like 4 Academy Awards. I saw that. I don't know. I didn't look up what the awards were for, but I don't think anybody like put in this great dramatic acting performance or anything like that for it.
I saw something. I don't have it in front of me, but I think it was like cinematography, and maybe it was like costume design, and then like one was screenplay. I don't know if it was original or adapted or what, but
Yeah. Editing, costumes, art
yeah.
direction, and John Huston for best writing screenplay adapted.
So, and we were wrong. He was not. Michael Caine was not an Alfie. That was Jude Law.
Oh. What about the old? Isn't there an old Elfie?
I didn't see it in his filmography.
I believe you. I'll look at it. It must be something else I'm thinking of then.
Oh no, there was 1966.
There it is.
There it is. Yep.
I've never seen it.
I have not either. The first thing that I saw him do was Victory.
Yeah.
He was in that with Pele and Max van Sydow. I always say his name wrong. Ming the Merciless. Gotta love Ming being a German. Anyways, good pick. Liked it. It's one of those. I'm glad you picked it, and I decided I'm going to be a little more adventurous with my picks and pick movies that I hadn't seen. So it might be some duds in there. I haven't been too well when I haven't seen Man of the Year, and
if you're not striking out once in a while, you're not trying hard enough. Right?
Yeah. Yep. So,
man, I set the bar for pretty low, so you'll be fine.
What was that movie again?
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
We did it. I think we're on a streak. I don't think I don't think we've broken the streak yet. Yeah, you mentioned the Masons angle. I was gonna bring that up too. Do you think it was just the plot device for the end that they did that, or I mean, it had to be, right? Like, because then they show the symbol in the stone, whatever.
Right. And they also needed a way to get Kipling to be on their side
Yeah.
and, you know, going along with the Mason idea.
Which is, yeah, that's weird to me too. Like, why? Why did they need Kipling? I don't. They really did. They could have done it without him.
to tell
Right.
the story.
Well, to tell the story, but I
He had
mean,
information on the area.
oh, that's true. That's true. You're right. He had the books and the maps and the.
I know that because of Wikipedia. Going back after. It's not
Uh,
obvious in the film.
gotcha. Gotcha. You good, Brian?
I am good. Thank you.
Okay, so Melo, keep going since.
All right. I actually did like this as well. I don't think it's a great film, but I liked it. If that makes sense. It was it was very 70s and definitely hit or miss. Mostly miss on those. Just something a little different in the storytelling typically. And I think there were some elements of that here, but it didn't really bother me or take away too much. It was funny that Wilden brought this up because I put the first thing I had. I put, look, I'm a pretty liberal guy, but I'm going to need a little info on the dude with scorpions in his mouth and the girl holding what I assume are poisonous snakes. Like it's 2 seconds in. John Huston, the director, is Angelica Houston's dad. I put the Shakira Kane thing. Holy shit, he threw the dude out the door. It was funny. I wrote this the first time when Kipling goes to deliver the message to Sean Connery, and he says he wakes him up and he goes, "God's holy trousers." I'm pretty sure they said it 5 times in the film, and it was just interesting how each time it had a little bit of a different take. To Dan's point, I put I'm very English, but damn, this is super English. Uh, I didn't realize that this was Christopher Plummer at first. And then let's see. Oh, well, speaking of English, not God's Englishman, which is the next best thing. I like that line. uh, I started getting into logistics of the whole travel and that. They bought crazy priest garb, winter garb, and their uniforms with the helmets included, like all of that. So I started this on Friday and got 40 minutes in. One of the notes I had that I erased was I'm 40 minutes in and I don't know who I'm rooting for. And then I went back yesterday and was trying to figure out where I was at. And then I ended up just pretty much rewatching the whole beginning. It made a lot more sense. There could be a couple factors, accounting for that. But the whole like we have this idea. We're looking for adventure. We've got an idea. This place is kind of untouched. It's weird how it skirts, the colonialism stuff. Even I was talking with my D&D group last night, and I mentioned this movie and that it was Kipling, and one guy's like, "Ooh, not a good dude, bad stuff there." And then I looked up, like I was trying to find, I couldn't find anything definitive. Like definitely, pro British, pro colonial themes and that, but at least in the very quick search that I had, nothing overtly horrible. I don't know, and maybe some of this stuff goes the other way on that. But I don't know. I just took it as more of a interesting adventure. The one thing that story wise didn't, I don't know. So when she bites him and the guy, the priest is like, blood, you guys are bullshitters. The fact that they are bullshit, they didn't like make an attempt to be like, no, that's holy blood. What are you talking about? That's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like if they're that type of guy, I think you lean in, right? That's
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah, I
con
did.
men do.
Yeah, I
I
did think
thought
it
they
was
said
weird that they
something
gave
about
up.
like, yeah, but I thought I heard them say something about like, oh, well, like gods don't have blood, they bleed fire, some weird shit like that. So like when they were explaining like why, women would be afraid to like be with them or whatever, it was like, oh, it's because that's like gods bleed fire and it'll, burn them to ash. Or yeah, I don't remember what the line was, but I thought they said something about it.
They did. That was talking about why the women were scared of them to have sex with them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, and she seemed way hopped up on something. I
Yeah,
don't
for
know,
sure, for sure.
but it was like I said, I found it interesting. It's funny. I don't know if it was Dan or Mike that brought up, or maybe somebody else, Indiana Jones, and I kind of felt a lot of the same. Like it was a precursor, nowhere near as well done or as fun, but going for the same thing. I think in some ways. So yeah, like I said, I did enjoy it. I really liked seeing just a couple of genuine movie stars doing their thing. Connery and Kane were fantastic. Um, Plummer was good. The dude who played Billy Fish, fantastic job. That honestly, a lot of the other people that the priest and Shakira Kane, and there was nothing in there where I was really off, put off by any of the acting. It, I don't know. It was an enjoyable detour. So thanks, Matt.
Okay. Yeah, good. I'm glad. Yeah, I probably fall into a similar category than that of you and Brian. Um oh shoot, I was gonna say Plumber, if you look at I just checked Wikipedia, but if you look at what Kipling kind of looked like or what it looks like he looked like, they did pretty bang up job making him look like him. So I thought that was a nice little touch. Um but yeah, I thought it was weird too that they didn't even feel like they tried to change their minds about the blood. They just accepted it and went, well, I guess that's it. I guess we're done. I did think that was a little weird for their characters, but who knows? I don't know. So cool, cool. All right, Aaron.
All right. Yeah, so I guess I could, well, we kind of already know you. I was gonna say I could be the tiebreaker of the four who's gone so far, but I'm gonna end up dead down the middle. Um, C minus. Um, which, it was fine. It's been said it probably could have been easy 20 minutes shorter. Um, but all the uh what do you want to say? Not even tropes, but steps are there. It's the adventure and stays too long and blows up in their face and hubris. I think maybe that was a word Mike was looking for earlier. Um, and you saw it coming with Sean Connery's character, and Kane's like doing the math, and he's like, we got to make it through the monsoon season, and then we're out of here, and he's getting real full of himself being king, and they just do, and like maybe something like this hadn't been done before. Maybe this is where everybody else got their cues from in order in order to make a movie like this. Uh, but foreshadowing or whatever, what's coming up when he tells Michael Caine, when you walk in front of me, you really need to bow. Right there, it's like, oh, it's in 4 months. This is going to be really, really bad. Um, I think you guys were talking about the biting the cheek and the blood, and why Michael Caine was all ready to be out of there. So one, I didn't think he had it in him to make an elaborate push. he already had, one hip on the mule. Um, he just wanted to get out of there and saw the whole thing as probably being a mistake staying as long as they did. So I didn't have a problem with them cutting and running. Um, I thought they'd be a lot faster. I never realized. So I guess I've never seen these two next to each other because I've always pictured Michael Caine as being really tall and Sean Connery as being kind of short, not 6'2". Um, but they're both tall guys. So I thought in my mind, if I ever saw the two of them standing next to each other, Sean Connery would be noticeably shorter, but I didn't realize he was that tall. Um, which there's a few scenes, especially at the end, when they're being surrounded by the Indian people, and they're all like bust height taller than them as they're swarming them and stuff. So that was cool. But for some of the stuff you guys had mentioned, it came up a couple times. The girl at the start, girl with the snakes, and the guy with the scorpions. I just took that as setting the tone of the savageness of India, and for the 1957 audience or whatever, this is exotic and out of the way and dangerous. And I don't know. I didn't see anything wrong with it. Knew I recognized Christopher Plummer, but I couldn't. Uh, I had to look him up. I was like, "Who is that?" Um, so I had to cheat to find that one out. But that was kind of cool. Um, Never realized until like we started talking. It was something I thought about, but never looked up until we were already going. What was the contract? Why did they? What was the contract for that they signed with him? And it was basically them just promising not to drink and womanize. You know, whatever. Okay. Um, uh, Velo already said, I thought I was going to come up, or be the one that, Billy Fish. I thought that was great, especially at the end. All right. So I've said my wife and I are big NCIS fans. And when he whips out that curved knife, I was like, "Oh, Billy Fish is a Gurkha," because that's come up several times in that TV show how badass the Gurkhas are, um, which he didn't really come off as how they kind of portray him in the modern TV, being like super stealth, assassins, take no shit. But I mean, he did charge into certain death with his knife, so bravo, I guess. I didn't understand, and maybe it's a World War whatever thing, or push into India thing even before that, ancient British thing. Why he was so loyal to the British soldiers as soon as he saw them. I mean, I get he was on the mapping expedition that went bad or whatever, but like, I mean, it seemed like he had a pretty good thing with those people, um, to switch on them, as soon as he saw red coats and white hats. But needed him for the story, needed him for the translating, throughout the whole thing. So, um, I don't know if that's what plot device is that, Melo, or story devices.
Talking exposition
No, no,
or
no, no,
not
no.
really.
I like when they like it's not a red herring, but like one of those things where I think it's got a name. I'm not even sure if he's one of those things, but um, it's kind of like the magical thing that helps out and gets,
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I can't think of the name. Um, but yeah, just Billy Fish being a Gurkha, I thought was cool. Um, and Brian was talking about, or you guys were talking about the whole Sean Connery being a god, and that's why he couldn't have sex, or the women were afraid because they would just explode. Um, Michael Caine could have all the sex he wanted. They didn't think he was a god, so he didn't. I thought he was going to womanize and get in trouble. I thought that was going to be an angle they might show him getting bored, because he's not the king, and I thought he was just going to knock up a bunch of guys' wives or something, and
Well, he
I
signed the
could,
contract.
yeah, but they have piles and piles of gold.
They completed the contract, so then I thought, kind of what
Yeah.
Aaron's saying, that now they were done. Now maybe the boozing and womanizing might be the downfall. I don't
Had
know.
a ruby the size of a, grapefruit. So he didn't have to answer to anybody if they would have just got out of there. So, and I mean, that was a little frustrating, plot device too. And it was supposed to be, just, that struggle, that little bit of anxiety, but none of it was really enough. The sets weren't really enough. The acting wasn't really enough. You know, I saw, I get it. And maybe it's because it was, oh, that hurt when that 50 years old came out. Maybe because it's 50 years old. Um, you know, it's just, there's a lot that didn't work, but you could see the story. And I mean, people must like it, but I had never actually heard of it before. We picked it. So, or you picked it, Matt. Um, so saw it, it's a Connery film. I love Connery. Michael Caine's, good guy, but, so I watched it. Didn't hate it. Definitely didn't love it. So I'll leave it at that.
All right. Yeah, it seems to be, I think anybody who kind of liked it more of didn't hate it, right? That was more of the feeling. Yet I'm the same way. I'm with Brian, and I'm glad I watched it. It's a movie I didn't know much about, um, in doing the research for Connery movies. So I'm glad I saw it. Excuse me, sorry. Um, yeah, I think just a couple of you guys basically covered it. You guys kind of heard what I said already. I like the adventure part of it. I thought it was a good plan. I think they could have cut about 20 minutes from it easily and probably not lost too much. But again, 1975, a little different. Um, just a couple things, just because you guys, somebody talked about, well, Brian talked about National Geographic, but he couldn't remember why. One of the main film guys was like a nature documentary film guy. So that maybe, I don't know if that's what you meant, but some of the shots and stuff, I guess, were done by him. John Huston tried to do this movie 3 times. Originally, it was for Clark Gable and Humphrey Bogart,
Hmm.
which would have been kind of weird. He also, after that didn't work, he tried Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas, which also would have been weird. And then finally, Richard Burton and Peter O'Toole. I don't remember. Richard Burton sounds familiar. I don't remember the name, but so
The only thing I think of when I hear Richard Burton is Scrooged, the movie. Bill Murray, the homeless people think that Bill Murray is Richard Burton, so he does like a scene all of a sudden. He's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. No, it was interesting. It was interesting. Robert Redford and Paul Newman too. It's just very
Yeah.
strange names attached to this. I don't. It's a totally different movie, I think, if it's not Connery and Kane,
I
right?
think it would
Agreed.
have to be two British guys because India was a
Right.
British territory. So two
Or
Americans would be kind of strange.
right, or they'd be just doing really terrible accents the whole time. It's just like that would have taken me out of it for sure. Um, yeah, they hadn't cast Roxanne even while they were in the middle of production, and so it was one of those she happened to be there because Michael Caine was there, and they said let's do it. I thought that was interesting. They didn't really look for an actress; they just kind of found one. Um,
Also, they
Yeah,
were
Michael
already
Caine
married
said, "Let's do
before.
it."
Michael Caine, yeah. He's like, yes, I do want to. Anyway, I don't know, man. Oh, that was another thing I wanted to say. 1975 PG, definitely different than 2025 PG. I'm like, because that's kind of how we always decide, like, should we watch this now or should we wait till the kids go to bed? We don't want to. And I'm like, it's PG, it'll be fine. And then just butts hanging out, just new blood I don't know. It's just way different. Which is fine. And we're not prudes or anything. It's just it was funny. PG in 1975 was much different. Yeah, I think you guys covered everything else. I thought there was something else I was gonna throw in there and I can't remember. You guys talked about the guy who played Billy. Apparently he was not being treated very well, and Michael Caine had to like step in and go, no, like they wouldn't even give him a chair to sit in between takes, even though he's like one of the main three that are on camera all the time. So like apparently Michael Caine had to throw a fit to like get the guy a chair while they were which I'm guessing probably had something to do because all the extras were from the area for like Moroccan people. So I don't know if he got mistaken for one of the extras or there was just some blatant racism going on there, which is possible. I thought that was interesting. Michael Caine, everything I've heard about him, he kind of seems like an actual really good dude. Um, so that makes sense. Yeah, and then
Why
John
his
Hughes.
character in this kind of threw me off. I'm sorry to
Yeah.
cut you off,
No,
but
you're
like
okay. Go ahead.
I was like, wow,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're totally fine. Yeah, he definitely was a little slimy in this. Um, eh, eh, I'll be honest, at the end, I didn't feel bad for them at all because they put themselves in that situation. But the fact that they got nothing, absolutely nothing. They didn't grab a handful of coins, they didn't grab a ruby. I mean, he grabbed his head, so he got the crown part, but then he just left it, which I guess is different. The actual story, he takes it and then gets put in a sane asylum or something. I don't remember, but yeah, I didn't feel bad for him, but I was kind of like, man, that's something. You spent like 2 years or 3 years or whatever it was total trip, and you got nothing. Well, one of you's dead, so that's the first problem. But yeah, and then just John Huston. We watched The Maltese Falcon in this group, which is something he directed. He did The Treasure of Sierra Madre, a couple other things. So it was fun to see something else by him, something a little different. So, and yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Like I said, I'm in the same boat as Lottie. I liked it. I probably won't watch it again, but I'm glad I saw it once. So,
Matt, you talking made me think of a couple
yeah,
things.
go
One,
ahead.
when Michael Caine shows up at the end, um, and it's been 3 years, and it looks like it's been 100 years. Like it looks
Yeah.
like decades have passed. But I guess being crucified is pretty tough on you, and then making it through the mountains on your own. Um, but it's funny you said Maltese Falcon. I had looked up. I was trying to search because, like, in a movie group, we should know the word that I was groping for, and it's a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then I had to look because I read, and the first one they talk about is the Maltese Falcon, in the Maltese Falcon being a MacGuffin. Um, and then I was kind of like poking around to see if, Billy fit the category, and he kind of does, because it says it can be people, common MacGuffins are a slave that knows the way and stuff like that. So I guess he kind of does fit, but it's a MacGuffin. I knew there was a word that worked, and it wasn't it was an Easter egg.
There we go.
I forgot that they did the you know, Michael Caine coming back and retelling the story and then, deviating. And then when they came back afterward, I was like, oh man, yeah, I forgot they they had that device earlier in the film.
That was one of our categories actually earlier. I think that's why we did the Maltese
I had
Falcon.
simple plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds right. All
Before
right.
me.
Pre-Aaron.
Well, yeah, as
I
Brian would say, B or
BA.
BA. All right. Well, yeah.
Me
Thanks,
too.
guys. I don't have anything else unless anybody has
So,
anything to close us out.
well, I guess that will wrap up movie 231, The Man Who Would Be King. Next pick up is Mike Wilden, who has Tom Hanks and Holly Hunter. Before we get Wilden's pick, though, after that is Aaron Lashbrook, and you have Clint Eastwood and Jamie Lee Curtis, if you recall. So, Wilden, what's your pick?
Man,
'Cause-
I really going into this, I was pretty set on going the actress route. Before I drew Tom Hanks, I'm like, well, shit. Like, all right, there are too many good picks with that. Um, I was very tempted to pick another Toy Story movie and be a smartass. I'm not going to do that, but I was genuinely tempted. Um, I also was considering invoking the go to the theater act to watch the Phoenician Scheme. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to be the right week for me to do that anyway. So I don't know, man. Tom Hanks, like there are a lot of Tom Hanks movies that all feel like they should be watched in a movie group, But we already watched Green Mile, and as far as I personally am concerned, like I've seen Forrest Gump, I've seen Castaway, I've seen Saving Private Ryan, Apollo 13, Sully, Captain Phillips. Like I've seen all of these. What's the one with Leo DiCaprio, the Catch Me If You Can. I have not seen Road to Perdition, so that is going to be our movie um, for next week. We are going to watch Road to Perdition.
Cool. I have not seen that movie personally, and it was one that I was going to pick at one point. So glad you picked it.
Sweet.
I didn't realize how many Tom Hanks movies I haven't seen. You're listing them. I'm like, I haven't seen Castaway. I haven't seen the Sully. I haven't seen I Am the Captain Now, the other one.
Captain
With the
Phillips.
Somalis. Yeah.
Bachelor Party, you see that?
Yeah, I've seen all those. Bachelor's Party, Volcano, Money Pit, like all the great.
Splash.
Yeah.
Oh, Joe versus the Volcano. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
All the
Man
great
with One Red
comedies.
Shoe.
Yes, 100%. It's all his dramatic
Great
stuff.
Buck
I guess
Howard.
I've avoided.
I haven't seen Saving Private Ryan.
Philadelphia. What?
I
I've
know.
seen Philadelphia. I've seen
Oh.
Saving Private Ryan.
Wow.
But Brian
You're
not
so-
seeing it. That's surprising.
Yeah, I just hadn't seen it. Didn't put the effort into watching it.
It's a good weekend for you.
Yeah. So, well, all right, folks. We will catch you all next week. Have a good one.
That'll do it for this episode of the BTB Movie Club podcast. Thank you as always for listening. We know we enjoyed ourselves. We hope you did too. Have yourself a great week. We are partnered with the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.